Hello, YouTube Nation, what is up? Today I got a new computer like the other day, so I'm gonna film on this, and I have more to rant about. Now, I know nobody is watching these videos, frankly, and sometimes it's a little disheartening because I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I filming YouTube videos and posting them if they get 2 views? But I know why. It's because I got thoughts. I got too many thoughts in my brain, and I need somewhere to put them. I need somewhere to put them out into the world, and I hope that if you come across this, you can gain some wisdom, and you can feel a little bit better, a little bit less alone, and that's all I hope. So, let's get right in. I am in a horrible mood today because I got 3 hours of sleep so yesterday I was going to a concert with my friend and I start breaking out in hives like all over my body. It never happened to me before, so I have to go literally to the emergency room. And I was mostly upset, 90% upset, because I had to miss my concert. I had been looking forward to that concert for weeks. I was so excited, I was having so much fun, and I lost one of my most special and favorite pieces of jewelry forever, and I also lost that experience that I could have had, and instead I had to go to the hospital, and it was not even that cool of a story. I took the IV out. Really shouldn't have done that, or the bandage off, but it was pissing me off. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how annoyed and tired I am of this constant romanticization of, frankly, being alone and being lonely, or the difference that people make. Being alone doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be lonely, you can have a happy, comfortable, good life being alone. And you know what? I disagree. I honestly disagree. There is this sentiment on the internet, I believe, that I have seen a lot, and I don't really love making generalizations about the internet because it is so vast and so wide, and there's so many different opinions and perspectives, but I've seen this opinion and perspective quite a lot, to where people say that if you feel uncomfortable being alone, you have some sort of downfalling in your ability to love yourself and to take care of yourself and to really do the things that can make you happy, which probably could be a little true if you're super uncomfortable. Any time that you're alone, you physically cannot be alone. You have to be texting people, you have to be around people all the time. There is probably something there to where you're not fully happy with yourself. And I also do think that times of loneliness, certain times of being alone, going out and doing things by yourself, you do learn a lot from those periods of times. You learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about what you like and what you want in life, and you are not sort of influenced by other people's opinions, and so you really get to introspect, which I think are some benefits of being alone, but I also think the negatives outweigh the benefits. Now, it's summer, and it's my last summer in this town, and as much as I am excited to leave and very much restless for the change, because I'm restless for the change. I'm restless for a new community and a new friends, new people surrounded me, people who match my energy and my vibe and my interest a lot more. I did really want to make the best of this summer, of my last summer here. I wanted to get out and have fun. Maybe it's a little vain. I wanted to make money. I wanted to get out and have fun. And I wanted to have a community here. And going out of school, I really felt like I did, weirdly enough. I've never had a really good, solid friend group, so it makes it hard. But I had a lot of different friends, a lot of people who I was like, okay, we're hanging out this summer. And they always say, yes, of course. Of course we're hanging out. Hit me up anytime. Let's hang out. And I say, I will. And I do. And we never hang out. I never hang out with, like, most 90% of the people that I say I'm going to at the end of the school year. And I understand that people's lives are busy, but I also feel like this sentiment of romanticizing your life when you are alone has really led people to become isolated, to become unwilling to put effort into friendships. And I am so frustrated. I am so annoyed because the amount of times I've gotten bailed on this summer, insane. The amount of times that I have hit people up and they're busy and they don't make an effort to reach out. And I do have friends, but I don't really have a community, if that makes sense. Like, I do have friends, but I'm not completely alone. I am around people a decent amount of times, but I am lacking this community that I really, really desire. And it's frustrating to see the way that people treat me in this town, and maybe it's not this town, maybe it's me in some regard, but I don't want to bring that into this. I just do not think that being alone and healing and working on yourself and spending lots of times alone, going on long walks and drinking tea and doing yoga, like, it all sounds nice, and you can romanticize it. And if you can, I think you should. But, I don't know. I don't actually think that that is the key to having a happy life. I think the most important thing in having a happy and fulfilled life is relationships. It is one of our most basic biological needs as human beings. That we have community, and we are surrounded by people, and we have a community that uplifts each other. And ever since, say, I'm blanking so hard, Industrial Revolution started, and we started shifting to, maybe before that, just when we have this shift from little communities all around the world to one big society that all works together globally, we became a lot more lonely, and people are depressed as hell. People are depressed in this day and age. Like, if you look at any graph, if you look at any statistics, like, the rates of depression and anxiety have gone up. Why do we think that is? It's because we are so isolated. And the reason that this sentiment exists is because people are having such a hard time finding a real community that supports them and uplifts them, and they opt for being financially secure and safe and comfortable. But being financially secure is not one of our basic needs as human beings. But being around people who care about you and uplift you and prioritize you, that is. And I don't think it says anything about how much you love yourself, or how comfortable you are by yourself, or how much you know yourself. If you yearn for community, if you yearn for a relationship, if you yearn for these things, because it's so normal. And why does it have to be unnormalized to be constantly surrounded by people? What I've realized in spending a lot of time alone, in processing a lot of emotions alone, and going through a lot of things alone, and watching all of these people in my life sort of fade and fizzle out whenever I'm going through a hard time, because it is a lot of effort to support your friends in hard times, in really difficult situations. And watching these people fizzle out and having to deal with this stuff for the most part alone, has really taught me a lot about myself, and I appreciate that. But something that it's taught me is that I want community. I want friends who actually care, and sometimes it really doesn't feel like my friends care. It feels like it's not important. The plans that we make, the time that we spend together, it's not valuable, it's not important to them, and maybe just they don't like me that much. Could that be the case? Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I don't really want to think about it. I am leaving soon, and my life is about to change, and I was talking to my best friend, and she has had the complete opposite experience for her final year of high school, to where she is so incredibly terrified of growing up and moving on and going to a new place, and she doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to leave her friends. She doesn't want to leave her family. She has a really good community here, and most people do. I don't know why I've had such a hard time. I don't. Riddle me this, why is it so hard for me? I think it's important, frankly. I think your relationships and your friendships are important, and are an important part of you loving yourself, and loving yourself comes with maybe having standards for your friends, and maybe being okay with not settling, being okay enough to where you don't have to settle for less. But I also think that this society has really bred this feeling of you can always do better, and so none of the friends that you have are valuable to you, because you could always do better, and you can always find someone who's better fit for you. And so people decide to then reach outward and start looking for new friends, rather than fostering the friendships that they already have. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, I'm just frustrated as hell. I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, I have had a really disappointing last couple 3 days, really disappointing, and not necessarily horrible, but disappointment hits me pretty hard for some reason, and the expectations that I build for how people are going to treat me are very high for some reason, and so yet again I am always disappointed. I'm always disappointed when people are busy, when people can't do things, when people bail out on me. And when people don't prioritize me, when people expect me to be the ones to reach out, even though I am always the one who reaches out. And maybe this is just a really normal way. Oh my gosh, my freaking computers. If you can't tell, I'm really tired. I took 3 melatonin last night. But I'm definitely trying to become more confident, and I feel like I've been doing so much work on myself, but yet it is not really paying off, and it's so disheartening to be doing this much work, and to be putting in this much effort, and have it not pay off. Oh my god, I'm out of water. I need some water, dude. Yeah, it's sorry gang, I lost the plot at the end there. I'm cutting it out. But yeah, I really think that friendship is important. I think that your relationships are important. I think your quality of relationships are important, and unfortunately, because of the sentiment that exists that you can be perfectly happy and live a perfectly good life when you don't have a community around you, that I believe is actually quite false. I don't think you could live a perfectly happy life if you don't have people in your life. I don't. I'm sorry. It's proven that's one of the main things that makes people happy. It's other people in their lives, and I think it has drawn a lot of people to devalue friendships in their lives and devalue community, honestly. And it's really hard to see. And it's hard to live through. And it's hard to be at the end of, So I hope maybe if you're watching this, you can feel a little less alone, because I think this is probably a very common experience. And just feeling lonely, just feeling like my hardest times that I've had, people are not there. And right now, it's like, yes, people check in on me and call me and they say, oh, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Oh, I'm so sorry. But it's like, that's not what matters to me, is that you show up for me in these big moments. It's that you show up for me day by day. You show up for me little by little. You show up for me and you show me that you care. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot of effort for people to do. And I can recognize that. And then I can also recognize that I am not special enough in people's lives to show that much work towards, to have that much, for people to put in that much work. And I wish I was. But people are lazy and they don't want to. And they just don't feel like it. And so it allows people to disrespect me over and over and over again and not think about how I actually feel, because I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I love you guys. I love you, YouTube Nation. I've had a really hard couple days, and I hope if you're watching this and if you've made it this far, I actually really appreciate it. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me, and I hope you can gain some wisdom or maybe just feel a little less alone.